Hi, this is Scott Garibay, and today we're going to talk about Dungeons and Dragons, and we're going to talk about the absolutely incredible importance of paper. And here's my contention. I think this is absolutely critical for every dungeon master to understand, and this will transform your campaign. Creation happens on paper. Understanding happens on paper, and we have incredibly powerful digital tools. We do, right? I'm not saying for 1 minute that computers aren't important and that live stream games aren't important, and that, like, I get it. I get the importance of digital tools, but the reality is you must understand that creation happens on paper, understanding happens on paper. What we're talking about right now is how you build your campaigns and the absolute invaluableness that you can't even calculate the valuableness of a D&D canon hardback. Okay, and here's why. So basically, I know, I get it, right? I keep telling you Dungeons and Dragons is important, and I keep telling you you don't understand the depths of the importance of Dungeons and Dragons. And one of the things that's happening right now is a demarcation of humanity, right? So basically, I have a friend who works in tech, right? And he will tell me that there are just layers and layers of geniuses. There are tier 3 geniuses, tier 2 geniuses, and tier 1 geniuses in tech. And you could be a genius, and you could be incredibly smart, and you could deal with people, and you could talk with people, right? And then once you hit tech, you'll realize you'll hit people who, like, have forgotten more about a topic than you will ever know, right? Like, their body of knowledge is so deep, right? And this is what's happening with Dungeons and Dragons. Is there are, with video games and with board games, and there's lots of people creating games and lots of people trying to understand life and going into philosophy and history and literature and art, right? But what I'm telling you is that the Dungeon Master is a new level of human, right? And that the way they process intellectual patterns is like nothing that has ever been seen in humanity. So a huge part of my life is note taking, right? And recently I watched a YouTube video that transformed how powerful I think notes are, right? And this guy was like, hey, get yourself a 99-cent notebook that fits in your back pocket. And what you need to do is you need to treat it like your phone. Carry it every single place you go. And every time you have an idea or a thought, you do not take out your phone, take out your notebook, right? And his point was, and it was a brilliant point, right? He's like, your phone is built to distract you. So if you have a brilliant idea and you grab your phone, you have no ability to capture that idea. You will be faced with the time, the weather, 6 notifications, people you love before you even have a chance to possibly even capture that idea. Whereas the notebook will allow you to retain your best ideas. And your phone, right, which is designed to capture ideas, does nothing but make sure that every creative idea you ever had blows away in embers and ash, right? And so here's the thing. Creation only happens on paper. I know this because I've been following this new rule, and it's transformative. My best ideas are being captured rather than floating away like wisps in the air, okay? And it's transformative and it's powerful. And what I realize now is creation doesn't happen on a computer. Iteration happens on a computer, and execution happens on a computer. But inception, innovation, and creation only happens on paper, only, right? And what's weird is paper seems to be this antiquated material, but it's actually the most powerful material for a creator by far, right? Far more important than the computer, right? You do need them both, but the paper is more valuable because it comes first and it's more primal. Now, here's the kicker, right? You're going to get a whole bunch of sad sacks reading on D&D Beyond, right? As their first and only source. Check them off, put them in the dunce box, okay? They ain't going to be the greater creators. They're never going to be the best dungeon masters, right? The best dungeon masters will always, always, always have the D&D canon hardback first edition. And it is a dividing line for human intellect, and it is a test, okay? You D&D beyond it, you D&D first, you D&D only, you are a D&D dunce. You are finished. You are nothing compared to a dungeon master who goes and always makes sure that as soon as possible they have the D&D canon hardback first edition in print. They see the history of the book, they see the content in a book in a way that anyone using D&D Beyond could never understand it, never value it, never relate to it, never process it. And what you're seeing is layers and layers of creators, right? Oh, I'm on D&D Beyond. I get the D&D Beyond books. I don't bother with the with the paper version, and I read it first and I read it only. Dunce box, buddy, you're done, finished, right? And the reality is, the people who are going to make the greatest campaigns in Dungeons and Dragons, who are going to add the most to Dungeons and Dragons lore, who are going to add the most to Dungeons and Dragons IRL history, they're always going to have the paper. And the reason why is they are tier 1 creators, and only tier 2 and only tier 3 creators are ever going to do D&D Beyond first or D&D Beyond only. Go ahead and use D&D Beyond, right? If you're at your grandma's house, right, and you don't have every book on you, it's great to be able to access it. That's D&D's value, right? The greater creators understand that creation only happens on paper. Understanding only happens from paper. It cannot be replaced. And what we are seeing now is a new level of dungeon mastering, right? And the whales and the sad sack DMs and the, put them in the dunce box DMs, they're going to be on D&D first and only. The reality is, the best, the top tier, the premium, the exceptional dungeon masters will always be paper first. Paper first. Okay? You don't have to be paper only, but paper first. You got to own, and like I'll tell you right now, okay? If you're a dungeon master and you are seeking tier 1 and you're not buying D&D canon hardbacks, you can forget that noise. You're going to fail. I can tell you that right now. You're going to fail, right? Paper is all that matters now. It is the premium source. All that's my humble opinion. I'd love it if you get in the comments and send your traffic. Please consider liking and subscribing. Have a wonderful millennium.